I was a father to her son for 11 years. My wife cheated on me, and I left silently. Now I'm back, watching her have a mental breakdown. I'm a little confused. About 2 weeks have passed since I learned. There were several warning signs, but nothing concrete, so I had been wary for some time. She reacted with unreasonable rage when I chose to face her. I became even more certain after she said, "How can you accuse me of something like that? I would never cheat." I searched her computer and phone, but I found nothing. I therefore purchased a few little cameras and installed them throughout the house. After that, I spent the weekend with some pals. I was raised near the Swedish border in Norway. My wife and I met in Sweden. She was 21 when I was 20, and she already had a child who was 3 years old. We clicked when we first met. For the past 11 years, I have been that child's father. That youngster is my son, and I adore him. It doesn't really matter now that we've been married for 6 years. In any case, I watched the video and left early when I knew she wouldn't be there. She was indeed there, acting like an adult with another man. I recognized him as Theodore, a coworker. He and his wife have been friendly with us. I thought seeing red was a metaphor, but I was actually seeing red at that precise time. I've never been so furious. In reality, I'm a rather calm person who never really loses his temper. However, I simply lost it. I struck the walls. I destroyed the glass table in the living room and kicked the bedroom door so hard that it flew off its hinges. Unaware that I had bitten the inside of my cheek, I yelled, spraying blood on the floor and wall. I eventually struck my head quite forcefully, which jolted me out of it. I knew I simply had to go after seeing the destruction. I believe I would have been in jail at that moment if my wife had entered. At best for domestic abuse, at worst for something worse. I hastily gathered my laptop and packed a luggage with necessities. I need my custom-built machine to perform my work in modeling and simulation. I met my son right outside our apartment complex, and I texted Theodore's wife a copy of the video along with the brief statement. "Your husband is cheating with my wife." I hugged him and told him that although I would always love him, I had to go since his mother was unfaithful to me. "I'm sorry," I told him. That shouldn't have been on him, but it just came out since I wasn't being myself at the time. I wanted to see my family in Norway, so I drove to the border, but COVID limitations prevented me from crossing. Since then, I've been renting an inexpensive Airbnb. I feel like a zombie, even when I'm working. My wife and I haven't spoken. My kid is the only person to whom I have replied. He has been asking me questions, and I have tried my best to be honest with him. Other than divorce, I have no idea what will happen next. I've been looking for a competent attorney. My wife and her family have sent me hundreds of texts, but I haven't replied to any of them. As far as I know, only my parents are aware of my side. Since my friends are also friends with my wife, I don't want to talk to them because I don't currently have a lot of support. I'm worried that I'll lose it and do something irrevocable if I speak to her or see her again. I don't know where to begin, but I also don't want to stop talking to my son. I'm still furious and I have no idea how to stop it. I know I'll have to respond to my wife eventually, but right now I'm so furious that I doubt I'll be able to think clearly. To see if it helps, I just wanted to try writing this out. I would argue that it hasn't changed anything thus far. First update. I'm feeling better. I went to a cage fighting club, actually. I should emphasize that I am not in very good shape and that I have no idea how to fight. In my younger years, I was severely battered the few times I got into a fight. I spoke with them and gave them the rundown. In fact, they were very amiable and willing to assist. I had to work out for 2 hours first. They threw me in the ring with a very skilled fighter when that didn't calm me down. He was obviously treating me very gently. I tried my hardest, but I didn't even work out with him. I hurled everything at him, and he blocked everything with ease. He quickly slapped me back, gently but firmly, when I was able to land a blow with some force on a few of occasions because I had no idea what I was doing. He gave me significant slaps and taps, but before continuing, he constantly checked to see how I was doing. During our brief meeting, he even apologized several times when he felt he might have struck me too forcefully. Imagine saying you're sorry for punching your opponent during a battle. It's obvious that he didn't consider me an opponent. I don't think he would ever consider me a danger. I am determined to learn, and I now appreciate those who know how to fight. These men were the most laid-back individuals I've ever encountered. I aspired to their level of composure. My brief altercation was very beneficial. It significantly reduced the tension. I no longer feel that intense rage. Even though I'm still angry, it's under control now. I'll return for more beatings and training. I still don't think I'll be able to meet my wife. I have assured my son that we will be all right in any situation. Regardless of what transpires between his mother and me, I still think of him as my son. I believe he truly valued that. I've also spoken with her parents and a couple of our mutual acquaintances. My wife has apparently gone a little crazy. She has been phoning and conversing with everyone day and night. She has been telling practically everyone everything. And she has even offered money to anyone who could connect her with me. I was thinking about just talking to my wife through a lawyer, but I'm not able to afford that. I therefore requested that my cousin serve as a mediator. After I gave her some questions to ask, we'll see where it takes us. Next week, I also intend to get in touch with the AP's wife. It was heavily recommended by some Redditors that I speak with my wife and let her know that I would think about making amends if I could adopt my son. I would never do it though. I will never, ever use my son as a pawn. Right now, I would love to adopt him, but only if he asks me to and I am certain that it is what he really wants, free from other pressure. I'll overcome this. I believe I will. I feel like I now have a strategy to go on after reading all of the excellent advice that I've received here. Update 2. I apologize for the radio silence. Since my last post, I've been very busy. I thought it would be simpler to just post this update because I get a lot of queries in my PMs. After my last post, I began calling my kid twice a day. He would constantly reassure me that everything was fine, but I suppose that wasn't the case. I had been concentrating on attempting to control myself. Individual counseling I see, which I started, helped a little, but my experience with boxing was what made a big difference. The first location I went to was a little dirty and dilapidated. Nevertheless, I truly wanted to be a part of the incredible friendship among the 5 guys there. I really wanted to fit in there. They all insisted that I speak with the old man, who owns the establishment. He apparently made the decision about who may join. I felt a little nervous since they held him in high regard. Let's assume that the elderly man was born with an unpleasant demeanor. At first, he merely listened, but as soon as he began speaking, I became increasingly upset. I couldn't pinpoint anything in particular. Perhaps that's what irritated me so much, because everything he said was accurate. Perhaps it was his tone, as if each remark or question was a kind of indictment. The elderly man gave me the impression that I wasn't worthy of joining his club. Abruptly, I found myself pleading with him, attempting to persuade him to allow me to demonstrate my worth. I'm still not sure if he's a genius or just a simple moron. Nevertheless, despite his extreme discomfort, the elderly man has had a really significant impact on my life. I'm beginning to understand why he is so well liked and respected. He has given me insight into the reasons behind my rage and taught me how to think more rationally going forward. This is already getting lengthy, but that's a tale unto itself. Let's get back to the main problem. My son contacted me back a few days after I had last posted, roughly 20 minutes after I had spoken with him. He apologized for lying to me while in tears. When he claimed that everything was well at home, he acknowledged that he had lied. He continued by telling me that even after he switched off the TV, my wife was still sitting there and staring at it. There was nothing for him to eat. He had just eaten sandwiches that a friend's mother had prepared for him when he visited, and the place smelled awful. Naturally, I hurried home right away. From the corridor, I could already smell the decaying trash. Even before I entered, I could smell the foul trash coming from the corridor. The house was a complete mess of filth. Evidently, it hadn't been cleaned since my departure about a month ago. The smell of decaying waste was dreadful. The floors were covered in crumpled paper sheets. The sink was overflowing with dirty dishes, and the floor was covered in shattered glass. First, I went to see how my son was doing. On the way over, I had grabbed him a burger. While I went to speak with his mother, I asked him to eat in his room. I reassured him that I was at home and would take care of him so everything would be all right. Before I went to see how his mother was doing, he sobbed and gave me a long hug. It felt great to be hugged. He had been sorely missed. I will never again abandon him. As my son had said, my wife was seated and gazing at the screen. He failed to mention to me how awful she looked. She was only skin and bones after losing a horrifying amount of weight. Her skin was brittle and lifeless, her lips were dry, her hair was disheveled and filthy, her clothing were filthy, and her eyes were sunken into her skull with dark circles beneath them. I took a seat between her and the television. The stench emanating from her was dreadful. Later, I discovered that the pail on the floor was half full of vomit from a week ago. I was really sorry for her. I wanted to keep her safe, support her, and improve her. I forgot what she had done for a long time. It hurt me so much to see her like way. Despite everything, I suppose I still care about and love her in some ways. I'm a little afraid about that reality. I think there's something wrong with me. I was unsure of how to respond to her. She was obviously not all there, to be honest. In fact, she questioned my sincerity. She started crying in a way I've never seen her do before when I said yes. Crying isn't even accurate. Wailing is a more appropriate term. I was astonished by how loud it was. She suddenly passed out or fell asleep in the middle of screaming. I was at a loss for what to do. Since I'm not very good at taking pulses, I placed my Fitbit on her arm. I assumed that her heart rate was probably not ideal because it fluctuated between 100 and 150. Before rushing to our neighbor for assistance, I made sure she was comfy on the sofa and cleaned the snot from her face. While I took her to the hospital, they were pleased to watch my son. At the very least, I believe she has been there for 7 days. To be honest, I'm a little confused about the days. I went once, but the doctors advised me not to go for the time being because she became so distraught when she saw me. They don't yet have a diagnosis, and they don't know if she will recover or when. Since then, I've been concentrating on looking after my baby. He appears to be doing better now that I made sure he was going to frequent individual counseling. But there's no denying that all of this has scarred him. I feel so bad about my role in making him suffer. For obvious reasons, I've been in contact with a lawyer in an attempt to obtain custody rights. I have no idea how that will turn out. Although I've also planned for divorce, I'm delaying for the time being. We cleaned the house over the course of several days. I eventually had to replace the refrigerator because, despite using bleach to clean it, it continued to smell like rotten food. In addition, I discovered that my wife had piled all of my filthy clothes into a body shape and placed them in bed. In order to make it appear anatomically right, it even included some unsettling additions. To be honest, it was rather unnerving. I went through every document she had lying around the home. The majority of it was nonsensical gibberish. I couldn't understand the dates and times on several of the pages. Many pages simply trailed off into wiggly lines in the middle of words, while others had lengthy lines of sorry, scribbled again. I have no idea what to do. I no longer feel angry at all. Instead, I am filled with a profound regret for the circumstances, the trauma my son has endured, and the person my wife has become. I'm sorry for her. However, I can also see why I was upset and how I've evolved to cope with the hurt. She was the reason I left a significant portion of me behind. I'm not sure I'm capable of forgiving it. For a long time, being a decent spouse and provider was a significant part of who I am. Her affair had mortally injured that part of me. That part of me was simply too painful to hold on to, so I let it go. It is too soon to predict where we will end up. All paths are open for the time being. I'm still bewildered and in pain. I'll just keep working to improve my sense of manhood and self-worth. I'll speak with my wife and see where we go from there if she gets over it. I have to take care of my son right now. I've got to check on him. I apologize if this isn't as amazing as the other stories I've read about dramatic retaliation and moral confrontations on this site. I'm depressed and tired. I'm at a loss on what to do. Before I returned, everything was very apparent to me. I simply don't see a viable path ahead at this time. Update 3. I would want to ask some questions. Perhaps you could assist me in shedding some light on this from several perspectives. If you're just going to say divorce, don't bother. I'll just ignore you. I understand that I have the last say over what occurs. Whatever I decide in the future, I will make the best decision for my family and myself. I'm a little dazed because I haven't been sleeping well. Please be patient with me if I ramble. I truly value the variety of viewpoints you provide. It truly aids in my decision-making. My spouse remains in the hospital. Other than her mother, she is not letting anyone see her. She has just been told not to have any visitors and that no one should speak to me on her behalf or put any pressure on me. Though not in great detail, she has admitted to cheating to almost everyone. She has been calling in a panic saying things like, "I cheated, he's going to leave me, what do I do?" As a result, people have been largely ignoring me unless I phone them to beg for assistance or advice. A few days ago, her mother gave me a 32-page letter. I'll attempt to distill the essential parts here. She expressed regret for her actions toward me, our son, and us as a family. Without asking any questions, she says she will sign any documents I present to her. Whatever the case, divorce papers. Before the current physical affair began, she admitted to having an emotional affair with another man online for 2 months. I think she is being honest because I was unaware of this emotional affair previously. She goes into great depth in her confession to make sure she isn't hiding anything. She has provided me with all of her login information. She freely acknowledges that she was enthralled by the attention and the thrill, but she appears to be very perplexed as to how she let things get to this point. Her story makes sense based on what I've read so far in the email message and call logs. She even directed me to a thumb drive that held an almost 10-year-old diary that was concealed in one of her drawers. Her letter and the diary appear to be exactly in sync. According to her diary, the initial emotional encounter was more of a game, involving flirtation rather than physical contact or even explicit sexual content. It continued till one day she felt obliged to message this man. She ended it right away after realizing what she had done, but she lacked the confidence to inform me. She wanted to tell me, but she wasn't sure how, according to the diary. She claims that she was flattered and had a huge lift to her ego when the major romance began. The AP or affair partner is a highly attractive man, almost like a model. I've also met his wife, and she is breathtakingly gorgeous. A perfect 10 out of 10. My wife felt unique, as if she had outcompete someone gorgeous, because of the attention she received from this man, who was married to such a lovely woman. She developed an addiction to that ego boost. Although she acknowledges that what she was doing was wrong, she also seemed to be sincerely perplexed as to why she was unable to stop herself. She expresses her self-loathing in her writing. As far as I can tell, the affair didn't get physical until the AP began to lose interest. In order to sustain the attention she had become dependent on, she began to use sex to keep him interested. Based on the diaries, it appears that she didn't really love having sex. Rather, it was a task she performed to gain more approval. She saw it as a reward she offered him for her time. The diary makes it evident that she battled guilt, particularly in her early years, but she gradually began to compartmentalize it. Naturally, our relationship weakened during this period. We drifted apart. For around 4 weeks, the romance was physical. According to her confession and journal, they had 5 sexual encounters, kissed, and played around. Her location information, credit card records from her hotel stays, and other supporting documentation support this. The rest you well know is history. At the end of her letter she wrote, "I'm not sure who had the affair. At least I don't recognize myself doing it. I don't understand how I could so easily abandon my beliefs and morals and hurt the people in my life whom I love more than anything. I don't know why I wasn't able to stop myself. I will not insult you by asking you to understand or forgive me, because I don't deserve understanding or forgiveness. My only hope is that I can be helpful in some way to help you and our son heal. I will do anything you ask of me without question. I will do anything if you think it might help in any way, no matter how big or small. I will live with my mother once I am released from here. I will stay away unless you ask for me. I don't want my presence to remind you of the pain I caused both of you. I don't have the words to tell you how sorry I am for what I did. My greatest wish is that you heal and find someone worthy of your love, someone you can be happy with. I pray I haven't permanently destroyed your ability to trust and love someone deserving in the future. As of right now, I don't really know who I am or why I couldn't stop myself from doing these things. I knew what I did was wrong, that I was hurting everyone including myself, but I did it anyway. I was selfish and I caused all of this just so I could feel a little better about myself for a short while. I will not be with anyone else because I'm obviously not safe to be with. I will seek therapy to try to find and maybe one day cure what is wrong with me. I understood how crazy I was and how horrible and awful I had become the instant I saw the agony on your face on the camera you left in the bedroom. The agonizing agony on your face while you were viewing the footage of me with the other man. I'm scared I'm not going to be saved. I will always love you. I wish I could take it all back, undo it all, but I can't. I'm sorry. I cried while reading it, and I'm at a loss for what to do. I've been up all night reading, and I'm emotionally spent, confused and unsure of everything. I watched the video again, and I watched the video of me going crazy, and I don't even remember much of what happened, but I keep looking at it over and over again. I try to put it away, but an hour or so later, I find myself watching it again from beginning to end again. It hurts, but I can't understand why I can't stop. Is what she's saying even possible? Can someone be drawn into an affair to the point where the behavior becomes compulsive, as she describes, where it's no longer truly a free choice? Perhaps a WW Wayward Wife on this site could offer some insight. Her diaries also make it obvious that she most likely developed depression around 3 years ago, following the death of her favorite aunt, which left her with a very bleak outlook on life. Almost hopeless, I would say. I've read other accounts where depression seems to cause drastic personality changes and can cause affairs. She obviously never loved any of these men. She loved the rush, the ego boost, the increased self-esteem, and the rush she got from them telling her all the right things. On D-Day, she completely cut off her relationship with her AP and called his wife to tell her about the affair. I know this because the AP's wife told me when I first met her that she was very focused on the idea that revenge would help, but in all honesty, despite her beauty, she is probably the most annoying woman I've ever met. Needless to say, we will not be having an affair, and we will never, ever again meet. I don't know what to do now. I can't sleep. I can't really think. I could really use some help. Update, for I am really thankful to everyone on this forum. I feel like I am back in control of things. I have been trying to see my wife, but she still refuses to see me. Her mother is still acting as a go-between. I tried to call her out on her letter promise that she would do anything if she thought it would help in any way, and she relayed the message that I thought that talking to me would help. I also asked her to see her doctor together to help me understand, but the doctor won't say anything without her present. I will try to be patient. In summary, I have been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and my wife has been diagnosed with persistent depression and some bipolar disorder. She has a chemical imbalance in her brain, and they are trying various medications for her. Many of you were correct. Her condition made her vulnerable, and then a predator came along, and now we are together. Her AP has been cheating on his wife continuously throughout their entire relationship, frequently with multiple women at the same time, and they are currently divorcing. According to what I've heard, the AP has been beaten up a little, but not severely. I have a friend who stays with me most of the time, and he helps me stay focused. This weekend I'm going camping with my son, and I was trying to find out if the descriptions in her diary were accurate, that she saw the sex as a chore. Based on her disengaged behavior and facial expressions in the video, it's evident that she was essentially just waiting for it to end. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I deleted the video of her and me going crazy because it was hurting me and I couldn't stop it. A part of me is screaming to just leave, to run and find someone else. What if she cheats again? How can I trust her? Can I get rid of the movie playing in my head? Will I divorce her in a few years because I can't get past this? However, divorce would undoubtedly mean losing some daily contact with my son. He is undoubtedly in need of me, at least for the time being. He is afraid of being abandoned, which is understandable given the recent events. I believe that leaving his mother now would worsen his situation. If I am able to leave his mother while she is in this state, what is stopping me from leaving him? He will likely view it that way. He has begged me not to leave him again, and those 2 weeks I was away were very traumatizing for him, and I'm not exposing him to that again. Being there for my son is giving me tremendous strength and motivation to face this with an open mind. We have begun going to the boxing gym together, and we are bonding stronger than ever. I'm not sure I could actually go through with a divorce in the short term because he is relying heavily on me right now, and I'm not willing to put him through that again. Maybe she won't get better if I divorce her now, and even if I do, I'll still be hurt. I'll still have the scars, and I'll bring those into any new relationship, which would significantly lower the likelihood that those relationships would work out. Isn't it better that I stay with her while I work on getting better? At least she'll understand why I'm having trouble. How long would it take to find someone who understands me as well as my wife did? If I leave her, what's really waiting for me out there? Women my age who are single seem to be either divorced for good reasons or so desperate to have children that they don't really think about whether the person they choose is a good long-term partner. It seems like there is a high risk of getting into a string of relationships doomed from the start because one party is desperate and I am broken. I don't really like random hookups or dating strangers. There is no assurance that a new partner wouldn't cheat as well, and given the circumstances, I actually believe the chances of my wife cheating again are lower than a new partner cheating. She is the only person in my life who truly got me. It took years to develop that kind of connection. Isn't that something I could use in my own healing? How long would it take? It's driving me crazy. How can I know if she is safe to be around for my son if I'm not there to witness it? Would I be better off alone or with her when it comes to my own healing? My son also needs his mother, and she needs to heal before she can return to that role. Will she heal more quickly and effectively if I divorce her? Or will she heal better if we try to get back together? According to what I've learned here, People who go straight to divorce don't seem to heal very well. It appears that the best results, in terms of healing, occur when the stray partner actively participates in the healing process over a minimum of 3 to 5 years. To be honest, I'm not sure if she is even capable of that at the moment. So here I am, incredibly conflicted with a million questions in my head and essentially no answers. I continue to struggle between two extremes, divorce or reconciliation, and everything in between. I can't deny that I still love my wife. It turns out that my bond with her isn't easily broken, and even though I fantasized about her getting hurt as badly as I did in the first few weeks, I don't really want to hurt her or anyone else. Hurting her wouldn't actually help me heal either. I really don't want to love her. The only thing I have been able to decide is that if I decide to offer reconciliation, it will not just be given. I will need to see real effort. I will not offer reconciliation until I am absolutely sure that we are two people 100% committed to that path. In addition, if we do, she will essentially be a prisoner on probation. I don't want to be that guy. But what choice do I have if I feel I can't trust her? In any case, I see a long, painful road ahead of us. I just hope I have the fortitude to stick with it and have the patience to make the right decisions for myself and my family. We'll need a lot of therapy in any case. Perhaps she doesn't even want reconciliation. I'm not sure. I feel like I need to talk to her, and I'm getting stressed out from not being able to talk to her. If anyone has any helpful advice on how to get ready for these talks, I'm all ears. Thank you all again. Be calm, maintain your dignity, and carefully seek the truth if you're experiencing mistrust, treachery, or false allegations. Don't make snap decisions. Collect evidence discreetly. Get the help of dependable friends, legal counsel, or a therapist. And if your children are involved, put their welfare first at all times. I would be delighted to hear from you now. Have you ever been duped, falsely accused, or presented with a difficult decision like this before? Leave a comment with your story, and together, let's create a space of healing and understanding. How would you have responded?